Last week, we learned about the basic shapes: the triangle, the circle, the square, and the rectangle, and how we can combine those shapes to create combination shapes and use that to describe something, to draw something. In particular, for our purposes, we've been drawing the figure. Now, subtle shapes is doing the same thing. It's using those same basic shapes, that same principle, that same tool, and now we're just looking more specifically. Instead of drawing the figure or the form, whatever it is we're drawing, in one or two shapes, we're now going to be looking at each part, in this case, of the figure. Last week we were thinking about broad shapes, seeing it as one or two shapes. Just trying to get that whole basic, very simple. Now we're taking it a little bit further and we're getting more specific. And we're looking for shapes within that big shape. And we're looking to use our same combination shapes and simple shapes to draw each of those specific forms. So as you're drawing, be asking yourself, what is the shape of the head? What is the shape of the chest? What is the shape of the abdomen? What is the shape of the waist? What is the shape of the upper arm, the lower arm, of the hand? What is the shape of the upper leg, the lower leg, and the feet? Thinking about just those basic parts of the body, of the figure, of the form, and thinking of how you would describe that with a simple shape or combination shape. But remember, this is gesture. We're not needing to be too concerned about getting everything perfect. So stay loose with it as you do it. As you begin to understand anatomy and you go deeper into your learning, these things will improve. So don't get too worried about getting it perfect, but just remember those basic areas of the figure and think of basic shapes that you can use to describe it. So we have the head, basic circle, chest, kind of another basic circle oval shape, abdomen, and into the waist. This guy is having a good time in the mud. I'm sure you've all done it. Then we have the upper leg, and lower legs. And the feet. And just keep going with it. Don't worry if it doesn't look quite right. Upper arm. Lower arm, hand over here. So you see, I'm being real loose, and I'll even go back over this a little bit darker so you can definitely see it. Head, chest, abdomen, the waist, into the upper leg, now down into the lower leg, and the foot, and the upper arm. What is that shape? Lower arm and the other side. Alright, so there you can see how these simple shapes are making up this form. Let's go through this here. So here's the head, shape of the head, moving into this shape of the chest, and you'll notice that this is sort of going to become one shape of the chest, the abdomen, as well as the shape of the waist, because this coat makes it all one shape. But you can still try to pull out where the chest, the abdomen, and the waist are. Move to the shapes of the upper legs. Sort of squarish, rectangulish shapes. And then we move down to the lower legs. And that goes right into the shapes of the feet. Again, rectangular shapes here. And the shapes of the feet. And moving up to the upper arm, into the lower arm, upper arm, into the lower arm, hand. Just kind of go through this again. We have the shape of the head, into the shape of the chest, to the shape of the abdomen, into the shape of the waist area. And we have the shape of this upper leg, into the lower leg, shape of the other upper leg, into the lower leg, and the feet, and upper arm and lower arm. And there you go. There's your basic shape gesture drawing. We have the two drawings that I just did, and I wanted to show them closer and closer view so you could see the whole thing, for one. The one got cut off. And to also reiterate what it is subtle shapes is all about and what it is you need to be looking for. So if you look, I've created these overlays that show you the basic shapes or the combination shapes that I am looking for and that I am seeing in these particular drawings, because the shapes change depending on the form and the position. But if you look, you'll see that I'm going through each of the parts of the body, and I'm using circles, squares, triangles, rectangles, and combining them all in different ways. So we have going through the head into the chest with a square, circle for the abdomen, into the waist a rectangular type shape, and then into the upper legs, somewhat rectangular with sort of a triangular bottom here a little bit, and rectangular shaped lower legs, triangular shaped feet, and combination of rectangle and triangle for the upper arms, and with rectangles for the lower arms, somewhat, again, combination shapes, circles for the hands. And I do the same thing through this figure. So this is what I'm looking for, or what I'm seeing as I look at the form. However, I'm drawing it much looser, because the idea of gesture is to let go. You have something that can be guiding you, in this case subtle shapes, but still remain loose and sort of flow from one shape to the next, from one shape to the next, and through the figure, but thinking of the shapes of the specific forms. So I hope you enjoyed this, and look online at the lesson to see what your assignment is for this week, and enjoy.